This is Danielle Jones. Shout out to Swirv TV, the Clutch Guys.
Hey, the Clutch Guys. Yeah.
In the Clutch Sports Podcast, DJ S.W.I.R.V Deniro, Toot Trill, M Dollars, Coach G. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow us on Instagram at In The Clutch SP.
Oh, we live at Spin 100? Oh, this must be special. It's got to be special. A special in the Clutch. The Clutch Guys. The Clutch Guys are in the building.
We here, baby.
Shout out to the big brother DJ Liney B for letting us use it.
Shout out. Appreciate you.
You know what I mean? Spin 100, baby. You might catch us here doing a radio show soon with the whole, squad and all that. But right now, what's happening? It's yours truly, DJ S.W.I.R.V Deniro.
Hey, it's your man, Coach G.
And look, we got somebody like extra special. We talking about like all types of stats, all CIAAs and Hall of Fame status and coaching and everything. You know what I mean? We got her out like she's like, we got to hurry get this podcast over. I got to go coach tomorrow. So without further ado, Coach, you got to introduce our guest player.
I mean, I definitely, man. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. I've been excited about this particular podcast, man. We got a living legend in our eyes, a Richmond legend. Chesterfield, one of LC-Bird's finest, one of Virginia Union's finest. I mean, y'all see the shirt, you know what I'm saying? It's something like, we're going to talk about that later, though. But, none other than the wonderful Miss Danielle Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Danielle Hoggard for y'all, back in the 90s, 2000s, but Danielle Jones now, And so how you doing, Danielle? We appreciate you. Thank you for, coming out and blessing us with your presence and giving us this honor,
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. I'm doing very well. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to everyone.
Oh, there's no problem, man. We appreciate you.
Before we get into the podcast, y'all got like some history, right? Usually it's me when I bring on some people, but now you done pull the coach move, you know what I'm saying? So y'all got a little history before we get into her history. What's y'all history? You feel me?
I mean, yeah, it kind of came 360 degrees, like, back in the day, in the 90s, I moved from south side of Chesterfield, and I went to Salem. And Danielle happened to go to Salem, and I went to Bird for 2 years while she was there as well. And then I went on to Meadowbrook, but she stayed at Bird. And then years later, after I graduated, her mom, shout out to Miss Janice, the lovely Miss Janice,
Janice.
She hired me at the bank, you know what I'm saying? I've been there ever since. So, I appreciate her, for hiring me, as well as giving me Danielle's number so we got this opportunity. So it just came full circle, man. It's a blessing, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, she's about to start up there with us, so that's another story, though. But it's full circle, though, y'all. Just full circle.
So let's get to the basketball, Coach. I mean, you got a slew of questions.
I mean, I did my research, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to take it back from the beginning now. You have two siblings, correct? Yes. Keith
and Chris.
Shout out to both of them. Now, coming up, I know, most kids, like we all do, we might not play sports, as far as organized sports, but we all play sports. Did what sports did y'all play coming up as siblings? I know as far as rivalry.
Zero.
What?
Believe it or not, we didn't play sports. We actually grew up in the church, and we were doing choir practice and just all the youth functions. So we didn't do any sports. Maybe in the backyard, shooting ball in the hoop. But that's honestly it. That's it. I didn't do. What I'm doing with my kids now, my children now, starting them young. We didn't do that.
Did you have a desire to play sports, or were you just doing other stuff that occupied you?
We were just doing other stuff that occupied us, so I didn't even pay attention to it. I might have watched it on TV, but we were busy doing other things. It wasn't even on my radar.
Oh, wow.
At all.
That's crazy. I know your mom, Miss Janice, again, she played basketball
too,
She
played
right?
the half court.
That sounds like
me. She played the half court basketball, so that was funny. But she did. She played a little bit, and
okay, so it was it was already in your genes.
It was in there. It was stirring up. It was mixing somewhere. It was in there.
So who was the individual that brought that out? That brought that to your attention that you probably could excel in this if you applied yourself.
My mom's nephew, his name is Anthony. He had that drive. He loved basketball, and he would stay with us and take us in the yard. And he realized at a very young age that I had something, and so he would just take us out there and do drills and shoot around, and that's what we did.
So now you didn't play basketball until you got to LC Bird, correct?
I did not play basketball until I stepped foot at S.W.I.R.V High School. I went from middle school, went to high school, and then Coach. I'm sorry, what's his name? Not Coach Tester, that's my coach, but the men's basketball coach. He passed away.
Coach K.
Coach K.
Shout out to Coach K. Rest in paradise.
He saw me walking down the hall. And he was like, "Hey, come here." And I'm looking like, "What does this guy want?" And he came. He was just like, "You ever played basketball?" And I looked at him and I'm like, "No, I've never played a day in my life." And he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna introduce you to the women's coach, Coach Tester." And from then, I tried out. And the first time, I always laugh at this because the first time I tried out was I carried the ball in my arm. And I ran down the court. I didn't know how to do a layup.
Like you was running football.
Oh, yeah.
Like on the field.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know how to do a layup. And to me, I thought I was doing it. You know, I was just like, yeah. And they was like, no, you got to dribble the ball. And so that was actually my first time. I had no idea what a layup was. I had no clue of basketball. And so ninth grade. And so from then on, I was on JV. Like I said, I ran down the court. I got laughed at. And I was determined. I was determined that day that I was never I had a drive. It was like when I stepped foot on that court and that competitive mode just kicked in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to learn everything about basketball.
Wow.
And so that first year, I don't know if you know Chantrese Smith, but she was our point
she
guard.
Was a beast. Shout out to Chantrese.
She went to Loyola College. She was awesome. I always just looked up to her, and I'm like, man, she's so dedicated. That is awesome. And so I just, watched everyone around me. And for that whole year, I was just learning. I was absorbing everything.
Like a sponge.
I was a sponge.
Okay.
And so then after that, I had gotten so much better. I started attending U-turn facilities. I worked on my footwork. I went to the weight room. Every day, I was working. By the time 10th grade came, they had moved me to varsity.
Okay.
So I was on the varsity team, and that was amazing. And it went from there, and I was just like, I love basketball. I loved it.
What did you accomplish anything big at LC/Bird? Like, did y'all win championships or go to state tournaments and all that?
We used to play like Princess Anne, those big schools like that. Oh, and we didn't get an actual like ring or championship, but we did get pretty far. We got pretty far.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had some good teams back
then. They really did.
Wow, that's crazy. So, since you, I guess, started basketball late, were there any like tapes? It's back in the days watching tapes, y'all. Watching video. Did you watch any players' games, like game footage, just to like learn from them, or maybe patting your game after?
Not so much at the school, but I would around. What was it? I was in high school. The WNBA, I think, started to launch, and I used to watch like Cheryl Swoops, and I used to watch Lisa Leslie. I used to watch, all those players, and I was pretty much inspired at that point because I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like them. And so I used to just absorb that and watch what they did. They were beautiful ladies on the court. They exemplified a lot, and I just used to watch them. For the most part, and of course Michael Jordan. I used to,
that's the GOAT.
And Shaquille O'Neal, and so I used to watch the Bulls and the Lakers and all that. So that was very inspiring.
Oh wow!
So how did you end up going from LC/Bird to Virginia Union? Was it like heavy scholar? Was it heavy recruiting?
Yeah.
I mean, how was that experience?
So I had I was looked at. So I want to tell this story. So I was in high school. My brother, he graduated, so we're all a year apart, my siblings. And so I went to actually help take him to Norfolk State. So I'm walking down the hall. They're not paying attention to him. Who is that? Who is that? That's your sister. He used to get so mad. He used to be like, I am coming here for me. And they weren't paying attention to him. And so I was recruited by Norfolk State and Virginia State, Virginia Union, and schools like that. And so Coach Green, Reva Green, came over to LC/Bird, was scouting me in the bleachers, and she came to the house and she spoke to my mom, and she was like, I want her to go wherever I go. And at that time she was going to state, but she ended up going to Virginia Union. Okay. And so that's how I was able to transition over there.
Oh wow. Okay, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there any advice or anything that you learned from LC/Bird that you took with you to Union that you just expanded on that? Like something that your coach might have gave you, like a gym or something?
Time management.
Time management.
I would say time management would be one. Just, don't show up on time you show up before. That's still instilled in me till today. Leadership and just be an example on and off the court that people are always watching you and just do your best. So I would say that those nuggets, in as far as working hard, just leave everything on the court. I learned those values at a very young age that are still with me today.
So you get to Virginia Union, you're a freshman. So take us on that journey from your freshman to, I guess, the year or the moment that you say, you know what, I have arrived.
Yeah,
that led to that she might have felt like, maybe you didn't think about, I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame, but now that retrospectively, like your freshman year, getting to that moment, you're like, you know what, I've arrived.
I'm here.
So absolutely. So I came to the campus. I'm like, wow, I'm here. I'm in college. Amazing. I redshirted my first year. So my grades were good, but my SAT scores were not where they were supposed to be. So I just,
Don't worry. I joined that club. But I got in college when I joined that club.
Absolutely. So they were a wee bit short, but nevertheless.
Stay in school, study.
Yes. So I I was on a practice team, and I just absorbed everything again, and I couldn't wait till I got to that, second year. I was like, I'm gonna show them what I got. And so second year came, which is my first year, and I think at that time we still had Coach Burgess.
Okay.
And I started to play. I did okay. We didn't have such a good season. And I think I moved to my second year, and Coach Golak came back. He was the coach of, he was at St. Paul's and he was at Union for a bit. He won some national championships. Okay. So he took us far. So I had some setbacks while I was in college. So those stats that you see were accomplished in about 2.5 years of play. I didn't play the whole 4 years.
Did y'all hear that?
I didn't know that.
Can
you repeat that? Did y'all hear what she just said?
That's major though.
Yeah, my stats that I received were only played about 2.5 years because when he became the coach, I broke fractured my foot in practice, and that was just like, pretty devastating. And so I had to, just some minor setbacks, and I had to recover. And I think something else happened. But about 2.5 years, that's where I received my stats. And I just worked hard. From then, I was just like, I don't have much time. And then I ended up getting all CIAA. I just worked hard. I took it to heart. Like when we lost, I was just like, look, y'all, we got to get this together. And so that competitive mode just clicked in. I was like, y'all, we got to win. Like, I want this. One year we went to the CIAA and we were in the championship game against Shaw.
Okay.
Oh, they were tough that year.
Shaw was always good.
They were tough. And we lost that game. And I just remember standing on the podium crying like, I can't believe this. But I still learned so much and got the accolades. I went to like a pro camp, like a pre-pro camp. I had a scout and everything.
Oh wow!
So I was heading over to China.
I was gonna ask you that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And even the I think Phil Jackson from the Lakers.
Wow.
He was in the stands right behind in one of the games, and he was trying to get me over to the women's league.
What type of guy was he? I mean, that's sidebar. What type of guy was he?
I actually didn't get to meet him. My coach, he was sitting right behind the coach, right?
Okay.
I actually didn't get to meet him, but my coach was saying, hey, like they're looking at you. So that was pretty neat. But then I was heading over to China and Germany, and then I had a recruiter, an agent, and he didn't do me so well, and so eventually I just kind of lost the passion. Not passion for it. I was just like, okay, I'm pretty much done with this.
Right.
And that's pretty much how where it went.
I was gonna ask you too, like going back. So going from S.W.I.R.V to Union, I know like Charles Barkley always said, once you go from one level to another, even if he's on top previously, now you back at the bottom, right? So was it hard to transition, or was it was there any differences? Anything harder about college ball as opposed to?
I mean, of course,
school?
yeah. I mean, college ball is year round. I mean, I think the hardest part for me was the conditioning. Oh, the 6 o'clock runs, and when everybody was at home, you were there during Christmas break. just the dedication. Like, you didn't have a life. You know, I had a boyfriend my second year, which is now my husband.
Congratulations to Black Love.
Yeah, Black Love, baby.
Thank you. And I couldn't hardly spend time with him, so I had a car that year, and I would look behind me at Vicar Hall, and my car would be gone with all his friends, and I'm walking to the gym. And I was like, wow. So I didn't have really a social life, which was, you know, fine.
Right.
But I would say that transition, the you have to like work really hard. Keep your spot, be a leader, just dedication all year round. Like, you didn't have a lot of time to rest or get in trouble.
Yeah, because like everybody that's on your team was like the best player where they came from, basically. So you all kind of just starting over, basically.
Yeah, we starting over, trying to bring it all together. Yeah.
But in practice, I know y'all was competing and said, I'm the top dog.
Yeah, we were butting, we were going at it. Okay. We were going at it for sure.
Who was your biggest nemesis in some of them practices at Union? Teammate wise.
Yeah.
I would say down low in the paint. I would say me and Monique Bonner. We battled a lot. Me and Tanya Pegram. Her name is Tanya Prince now.
Okay.
We battled a lot. Great. You know, off the court we were fine. We had a tall girl named Shawana Jeter. We battled like, so it was just like a lot of battling, like.
Okay, but y'all made each other better.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. It was no hard. Like, after we got off the court, that was it. You know.
Right.
But we did make each other better because we wanted to go far, and we actually went really far.
Okay. How far did y'all go?
1 year, I think we made it to the Sweet 16. Like, no, the Elite. No, Sweet 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
That is dope.
When did you matter of fact, how did you feel when you were contacted to say, hey, you know, we're gonna put you in this Hall of Fame? Like, where were you at?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Take us back.
Where were you at that moment when you found out? Like, wow.
At that moment, I was working at MLK, and I received a phone call. I was a day treatment counselor, and I was at MLK, and it was like, we want to induct you into the Hall of Fame. And I was like, no, I think you got the wrong person. I really was just like, no, I think, you know, are you sure? And they was just like, no, we're sure. And I'm like, okay. And I was just like, wow, like, me? Why me? I was pretty much, are you serious? Because I'm very much a humble person, so I don't bring a lot of attention to myself. I do what I do, and I just keep it moving. So to get that call after you've been working that hard was amazing to me. Like,
I know you felt good.
Oh, I felt really good. I was like, me? Are you sure?
Did you get to give a speech? Like, you know.
I did.
Oh, really?
I did. I got a speech.
Wow.
Prepared it, and then shared all the things that I, you know, had been gone through. And I think they just saw my tenacity, my drive after a big incident that happened to me, you know, while I was in my home. And I'll share that, you know, whenever y'all ask that question. Right. But they saw my drive, and they were like, we see her on the court and we see her off the court, and she's still doing the same thing, driving, pushing. So, yeah.
So, like, once you left Virginia Union, in your mind, did you think, I probably put in enough work to make it to the Hall of Fame?
No, that wasn't. No.
So that call was really just out of nowhere.
Oh, it was, because it's some amazing. I mean, y'all, it's some amazing women, and to be picked as one of the people, like, those girls, those women are awesome. I mean, stats galore, and I'm like, my little old stats, how does that compare? You know, and I'm being real. I was just like, there are way more women, and you like chose me. So yeah. I was pretty amazed.
Were some of them other Hall of Famers from either men and women, were they present during your presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. To meet them? Oh, wow. Okay.
I guess, yeah. And that whole weekend was like a football game, and we got to sit in the little, you know, Hall of Fame area. It was a nice weekend.
Oh, wow.
I got to meet different Hall of Famers. They treated me so good. Oh,
wow.
It was a great weekend.
You ain't got a lot of, you know, Ben Wallace. You got Charles Oakley, Terry Davis.
And it was nothing for me to see Ben and Terry. Like, Terry worked me out plenty of times. Ben, I would see him all the time. He was just normal to us.
Oh, wow.
He was in the gym with us, all the time. His nephew, Wayne, played for us. Played during my years. This is Danielle Jones. Shout out to Swirv TV, the Clutch guys.
Hey.
What you guys think in the comment section? Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's go. Notification gang. Hey.